Sorry, this is going to be a two-part video because I got interrupted by a phone call. Didn't have it on silent. But as you can see, this was something that people, like we were saying, they got beat down, fleece heisted and shisted to an all-time low. And not only did they get fleeced, manipulated, and heisted for all their money and got taken to the woodshed, they're sitting down 94.21% since they got bought in when there was a 3-week barrage as this coin was being launched and paid promotions and promoters out there pumping it. They missed out on all the potential returns and on the massive bull market. As you can see, this thing didn't participate in the Trump bull market. If you were sitting there waiting for this one to come back up, you missed out on the whole cycle of the bull run because you got fleeced. And that's part of why you need to be members of Jabroni Killers here. So I wouldn't be too much of a hurry to buy this because this is on the way to the shit house. Could there be some more pumps like you've seen here, here, and here? Yes. But is it going to keep going lower? It looks like this was just a massive rug pull, and you got to be very careful when buying this. I'm not a financial advisor. But if we move along to XRP here real quick before I forget to do these on the lunch, XRP's had a phenomenal rally, and just like the first mover advantage, and the reason we named the Thursday and Friday videos Pump Advisory and Pump Warning, we showed as high as we thought you could get over the weekend on that pump. If you got on top of the neckline at 209, would be up here, right where you just had a recent bearish cross confirmed with the 50 underneath the 100 there at 224 and change, right? And you can see where you wicked up to in the daily time frame. And if we go into the 4-hour time frame, you can see, look at that wick up came all the way right to the 50 and the 100-day moving average, right? And now you've settled just above the 200 and below those two moving averages overhead, and you're settling right on the neckline like we thought we would have to do now. And now is the critical 24 to 48 hours. Does this bounce around and then end up below the $2.09 neckline, right? And then tries to trade back up and just can't really do it, and then starts to trend down? That would be a confirmed breakdown. And then you would look to retest this local wick bottom of $1.63 before it could try to rally slightly again. But this is into an area where you would expect it to get rejected in the next day or two. Now, if it decides to pump up and just got more local bullishness and you break above the 241, then you'd be looking at coming all the way up here to between the 247 and the major upper resistance that dictates the short to medium term bullish or bearish up there at $2.52. That would be your next major area. I don't think we're going to get up there, but it's possible. I think we're going to start to struggle around this $2.09. It could bounce back up into the 220s, but I think it's going to eventually, throughout the course of this week, it's going to trade back below that neckline, right? But who knows? It could take the oddball and go up to 255. But I think this head and shoulders that we've been watching is in full effect. You can see the volume is very, very minuscule. You can see the most recent pump, what the volume looks like down there. If we circle it, see the most recent pump, there's your volume. You have the middle finger and then the pump. But notice the pump's going up and the volume's going down with the green candles. That usually lets you know the exhaustion is starting to take effect and the price will eventually turn over with massive overhead resistance of the bearish cross, of the neckline, of the falling 150, right? The falling volume. So we're going to pay attention to that to see what happens, but I do feel confident that the $1.29 is going to get hit. I think that the $2.24 was roughly the high for this most recent pump, and I think over the next 2 to 3 days, you're going to see it struggle along the neckline and then eventually break down below that and retest the local bottom that wick had last week at $1.61. So that's what my gut is telling me on XRP right now. The same thing with XLM. We have the weekend pump advisory, first mover advantage, member, Jabroni Killers. Subscribe to the channel. You were not caught off guard. You were well prepared what was going to happen over the weekend. And we have the pump advisory for here that could have went as high as 25 cents, the major upper resistance. We didn't quite get there. You can see we've had that track ever since we were back up above the 25 cents, repeatedly using it as support. that we were going to eventually touch the 18.5 cents, which we came close. We didn't quite get it there, but it came down to 20 cents, followed by what in purple we could have had a rally potentially as high as 28 cents before we came and traded back down and eventually went to 14 cents. You can see that pump advisory, it didn't get up yet to the 26 cents, got up to 25, just above 25 and a half. And it's starting to get rejected now. You can see that local little volume spurt is dying out now. And if it continues to get rejected, it will come back quickly to that 18, the major underneath, and actually touch it. It was slightly above it. If it starts to break down, it's going to actually touch that 0.18794310 cents, right? If you're trying to get more shorter term bullish and continue this, you got to get on top of the 25.5 cents, flip it back to support, and then try to attack the major overhead sell pressure, which is all three of the moving averages trending downwards in a big fashion, right? So that's what's going on there. That's what's going on in the market. We'll give you a nice nightly update tonight, probably around 9 o'clock when we get home from our second job after we get out of here from our first job. Peace and love. The Rex Eyebrow J.